I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
President Trump tweeting, when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Try not to hurt him. If you do, I'll defend you in court.
We had some people, some rough guys like we have right in here, and they started punching back. It was a beautiful thing.
I would have been boom, boom, boom. I'll beat that.
He's threatening riots if he gets charged with a misdemeanor.
She says, does he know that, quote, potential death and destruction in such a false charge could be catastrophic for our country?
I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will.
Look at this. Look at what they literally just did, guys. Trump Justice Department is bringing back firing squads. What's more violent? A firing squad or a, lethal injection? Firing squads. You want another one, guys? What is more violent? The Department of Defense or the Department of War? Which one do you think is more violent? Yes. Let's think about that. Bombing fishermen's boats is violent. Even bombing drug boats is violent. If there are drug boats, pull a ship up next to them, commandeer the boat, arrest those guys. But murdering drug traffickers? Come on, bro. Dude, remember they got so upset about like the word toxic masculinity because they want men that are violent. They do, man. They literally, the right wing loves violence. They love war. They love firing squads. They love capital punishment. They love the Department of War. They love when protesters get their asses kicked. Okay, they love like stand your ground laws and people shooting people who break into their house. They love when cops will somebody doesn't comply and gets murdered. Okay, they cheer that shit on. They love guns. Okay, they do. They love violence. They adore it. They adore it. They cherish it. They want men to be aggressive and manly and toxic and rough and right? They love that shit. They live for that shit. They want to bring back public executions so they can go watch violent acts. So don't tell me that we're the violent ones, because we're not. Meanwhile,
President Donald Trump took to Truth Social, branding Arizona Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other congressional Democrats as traitors who deserve the death penalty.
Over the weekend, Trump effectively said that Milley should be executed for treason.
The president reacting to Mueller's death on Truth Social, saying, I'm glad he's dead.
Knock the crap out of him, would you? I will pay for the legal fees. If I say don't hurt him, then the press says, well, Trump isn't as tough as he used to be.
President Trump is responding to Rob Reiner's death, posting on Truth Social. Reiner's death was due to, quote, the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome.
The former president posted this photo of himself getting ready to swing a baseball bat next to a photo of Bragg. Today, Bragg's office received a package containing white powder and a threatening note.
I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
President Trump tweeting, when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Try not to hurt him. If you do, I'll defend you in court.
We had some people, some rough guys like we have right in here, and they started punching back. It was a beautiful thing.
I would have been boom, boom, boom. I'll beat that.
He's threatening riots if he gets charged with a misdemeanor.
She says, does he know that, quote, potential death and destruction in such a false charge could be catastrophic for our country?
I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will.
Like when you guys put somebody in the car and you're protecting their head, I said, you can take the hand away, okay? Boys, stand back and stand by. Our country is under siege. We're going to the Capitol to make your voices heard, and you have to get your people to fight, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Huh. Yeah. Gee. Who's the violent one? I do not love the Pod Save America guys. I have significant issues with the Pod Save America set because of their milquetoastness and their little like ho hum, don't upset the apple cart, and we're in a great social class kind of vibes. But Jon Favreau, he had a moment today where he tweeted something that I thought is worthy of sharing. So, sincere question. Do Trump supporters who genuinely want to reduce political violence actually think that lobbing transparently hypocritical accusations about the left's rhetoric is in any way effective? Are we really going to go through another cycle where MAGA folks point out incendiary rhetoric on the left without ever acknowledging that some of the most violent and incendiary rhetoric in America comes from the president and his supporters? Do you not think the rest of the country has eyes and ears? It's truly awful that President Trump has been the target of political violence. It's also truly awful how he's frequently talked about his political opponents, accusing them of treason, amplifying calls for their execution, publicly celebrating their death, calling them scum, garbage, vermin, animals. It was like 3 weeks ago that he threatened the annihilation of an entire civilization. It was just a few months ago that he and his White House knowingly smeared 2 Americans who'd been killed by federal agents, and he smeared them as domestic terrorists. I hate political violence. I hate what happened last night. Probably 99% of Americans agree. But let's not insult everyone's intelligence by pretending that the most powerful person in the world isn't a huge part of the problem here. And that is so accurate, guys, is that, like, it is inescapable to me that Donald Trump now, if these things are real, he is reaping like a decade of his own violent rhetoric. He has sown nothing but violence and calls for execution and aggression and name calling and belittling and you know, trying to take power over those whenever they're in a weakened state. And now, like, some of that energy is like swinging back at him. It's like the pendulum has come back, and all of the rhetoric he has thrown out into the world is now roosting at his doorstep. And he's like really upset about this. And you know, and that's, to me, we do have to acknowledge this, okay? Because let me just tell you guys, leadership down, okay? Leadership down. And I don't care what you teach people. I don't care what the laws are. Human beings learn through mimicry. Human beings are mimics. That's how we learn to speak. You don't get taught to speak. You watch other people speak and you imitate the mouth and tongue movements and you learn to speak. We learn through mimicry, which means whatever behavior the leader engages in, it shit's going to get emulated. If the leader is a name caller, the name calling will go down. If the father in the family is a name caller, there's a high probability that all of his sons will be name callers. If the father likes to aggressively attack people, some of those kids are going to aggressively attack people. They're going to model that behavior. That is a fact. The leader sets the tone, guys. They set the tone, man. They just do. If we have a political violence problem in the country, then we have to look at our leader, the president in charge, and we have to ask him, like, what of his behavior is helping contribute to this? And that is factual, guys. When Trump is president, there are certain types of violence that increase. When Trump is president, anti-Semitic attacks increase, racist attacks increase, domestic violence attacks increase, political violence increases. Okay? Don't tell me that's not true. Okay? All of that shit is like a no, man. You know? Yeah, dude, MMA. There you go. They're going to have MMA face beatings on the fucking White House lawn. Like, give me a break. They love that shit. They live for that shit. Now, the minute, though, any of that shit, like bleeds into their area, they are like, how dare you? How dare you? If you want to get rid of killing, you have to socialize your society to disrespect all violence. Seriously, if you want your society to not have killers, you can't kill with the military. You got to have cops that don't kill. You got to like raise kids in homes where there's no violence used to punish them, right? You have to like, you know, get rid of things where people just beat the fucking shit out of each other for sport. And you got to make the concept of being violent as awkward and uncomfortable as the concept of like cannibalism. And if you do that, if you make it so violence is just something that is like, wow, that's so harmful to the fabric of the world. And if you raise kids in a world where violence is like a place we don't go, but your rage is something that gets addressed, then you could have a world with significantly less violence. I mean, I think it's twofold, though. On the one hand, you have to agree that violence is unnecessary and harmful. But on the other hand, you have to be willing to acknowledge the fear in all of us that exists underneath our rage, because we're all filled with a lot of fear. And that fear usually manifests in much more controllable ways through anger or extreme rage. And like, we would have to address that shit. We would have to address those issues, you know? But it's possible. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.